New water regulations in the central San Joaquin Valley could mean headaches for growers, especially if they don't comply. Farmers in the Tulare Lake Basin area will soon have more work added to their routine. New reporting regulations will require more record keeping, and that could add hours to a farmer's already long day. It's all in an attempt to stay on top of the groundwater loading or nitrates entering the groundwater through agriculture applications. Nitrogen is used as a fertilizer, then absorbs into the soil. Eventually, some of that nitrogen enters the groundwater as nitrates. A 2012 report by University of California, Davis, prepared for the California State Water Resources Control Board, found that significant differences exist in groundwater loading intensity between crop groups. It goes on to say the intensity of the groundwater loading is least in vineyards, followed by rice and subtropical tree crops, tree fruits, nuts and cotton, vegetables and berry crops, field crops, and grain and hay crops. And the study found significant differences between counties as well. However, the new regulations don't account for those differences. Rather, every grower in each of the counties affected will have to comply the same. David Orth is the general manager of the Kings River Conservation District, a resource management agency for growers in the Kings River area. That area is more than 1 million square miles and includes portions of Fresno, Kings, and Tulare counties, all counties that are affected by the new reporting requirements.
The program reaches into groundwater by forcing every one of the valley's irrigators to comply with an order that is aimed at trying to protect the quality of our groundwater.
He says in the last 10 years, many valley growers have taken part in a surface water program aimed to improve the quality of surface water, but now the new program adds groundwater into the equation.
What it means for growers is that the Regional Water Quality Control Board has concluded that if you irrigate, you are a discharger of waste to groundwater. And under the state law, if you are a discharger of waste to waters of the state, you are subject to a regulation or a waste discharge requirement. And so whereas for the last 10 years, if you were an irrigator who didn't discharge to surface water, you were exempt from this program, this now means that every grower in the Central Valley will be subject to this regulation.
He says growers will be required to either join a coalition group and have that coalition represent them, or they'll have to contact the Regional Water Quality Control Board directly and negotiate their own individual waste discharge requirements to protect the groundwater underneath their property. Mark McKean is a grower in the Riverdale 5 Points area. He says the new regulations are going to add what he calls a tremendous amount of bookkeeping.
It's added regulation for something that I don't believe that I've caused, in the sense that, in my area that I grow crops in, it's very, very unusual to find nitrates in our water. But yet we're being focused on just as anybody else is, as though we're a problem for that, and having to do all these additional paperwork because of it. In addition to that, there's supposedly going to be monitoring wells in our area that I really question what kind of value we're going to get out of putting monitoring wells in areas that we don't typically have problems. But more than anything, it's that writing that check and additional cost as growers would have to, it doesn't matter where they're at, are going to have to pay additional fees into this program.
There is still time for growers to speak up about the new regulations. There will be another meeting scheduled and held in Fresno before the regulations go into effect in late September. We will keep you updated once that meeting is scheduled. So a couple of tips for growers. Go to those meetings now so your voice is heard, and be prepared to comply with those regulations later. From Fresno County, I'm Sabrina Hill for AgNet Video.